Energy equals Michael times CC. Since we all became of this universe, should we not ask who we are, whence we came? Insight clefts the night with its radiance. The theory of everything shines through. Michael had dedicated his life to assisting the less fortunate and giving love to all, as well as to the quest of the Holy Grail of the Toe. Being one of the glorious few of the Knights of the Round Table of Toe Quest, those who look beyond, above, below, and within the everyday, into the very life and source of the magic of existence. He'd heard, with some alarm, of the narrow escapes of his fellow Toe Questers, and was almost worried. Since we all became of this universe, should we not ask who we are, whence we came? Michael was well aware that his nearly real name and picture appeared on his every post. The picture was small, but the name could be deduced, and so the new MI8 group had done so, locating his residence. However, Michael awaited them in his lounge chair, having a trick up his sleeve that he couldn't wait to pull on them. So there he was, posting away to 100 different threads when they arrived and surrounded him on 20 sides.
Please come with us peacefully. There is no escape. We have guards on all the exits and on all the entrances.
I am Numena.
Michael smiled and simply said, "I am Numena," as he turned into pure energy, a state that could not be maintained for more than a few seconds, but time enough for him to zoom away at near the speed of light. He'd been practicing this, and it was always quite exhilarating, although he couldn't sense as well during it. It had a refractory time of a few days, whereupon he could perform it again just by thinking energized. Anyway, he disappeared from right in front of their eyes and took off, easily passing through buildings, trees, and mountains, and going around the world about 14 times before he materialized, of all places, next to the Queen of England in her bed at 1 a.m. Michael made a vow to replace his TR3 with a Porsche, while preparing to fix the flat tire by the side of the narrow road in his spotless white sports suit. Michael took the spare tire out of the trunk, carefully trying not to let it touch his pristine white leisure suit as he juggled it over to the wheel. He jacked up the car and removed the flat tire. He swore at his car when he got a smudge on his pants from the old tire. It was then that he saw her driving by, a bright vision from heaven come to answer his dreams. He could hardly believe what he saw. She was driving a yellow Testarossa, breaking the speed limit and hitting at least 125 mph, almost blowing him off the shoulder of the road. S1. Dang nabbit.
Darn, now my white suit had become a dusty gray. She's the one, that's her. Forget everything for a while, she's the one, that's the woman for me.
He got a good look at her, though, since she had her top down. Her hair and scarf trailed out behind her as she sped away along the hilly road. Her license plate just read, Trish. He could hardly contain himself, and he even stopped thinking about the theory of everything for a while. As he drove into the parking lot, she was already walking out with a hamburger in her hand. Michael, always quick thinking, walked right up to her and spoke directly. That's her type of food. I once ate slow food escargot. He quickly twisted the lug nuts back on the wheel, jumped into his car, and raced after her. Unfortunately, his old TR3 could only muster 85 mph on the switchback upgrades. A bit of smoke poured from his engine, suggesting he was burning oil and would never catch her. Then, luck smiled on him as he spotted her car parked outside a fast food restaurant. She handed him the remains of her French fries and quickly roared off in her new Testarossa, the wheels spinning and spitting dirt onto Michael, turning his now gray suit to a dark brown color. Her antics only convinced him all the more that she was the girl for him. She was rich, daring, confident, attractive, sexy, and so full of energy. Plus, she had a ready wit and was good-looking too. She had long hair, a body that was alive, and erotic, exotic features. Her eyes had looked straight into him. She was more than fine. She just oozed with charm, personality, and sex appeal. Michael stood there, dazed for a moment, still talking to the air she'd just vacated. Already he could see her car speeding along the road below, her radio music blaring some music that sang, wild and free, That's what I want to be. She looked up and gave him a wave, urging him on, and this shook him out of his trance. He even managed to wave back, although he felt like a frozen statue and could hardly lift his arm. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Michael, 18 blue Mi-8 sedans had located him and were hot on his trail, although still some miles back. Michael ran to his car and raced down the hillside after her, going faster and ever faster, even running off onto the shoulder several times, and then almost going off the side of the road. The curves were real tricky, and so he had to assist the car's braking by downshifting into second gear, sometimes even into first. He couldn't keep up with her, of course, but at least he could still see her now and then down the other side. He was pushing his car to its limit and loving every minute of it. Oh, the thrill of it, and for good reason too. Love. This was not just simple speeding, it was speeding for a purpose, speeding as if his life depended on it, or at least his love life. Michael immediately became enamored of the exhilaration of the chase, as the stress and excitement caused adrenaline and natural opiates to be loosened in his overworked, toe-questing brain. He took a chance, passing a slow-moving truck in the no-passing lane, and was just barely able to tuck back in time.
Okay, Michael, I'll make a deal with you, one that we'll both enjoy. If you can keep up with me throughout the day, then you can have me tonight. And get that suit cleaned.
Trish, my name is Michael, and I'm on my way up in the world of Thing. I am falling in love with you and your style, so I would like to take you out tonight and get to know you very well.
As he neared the meadow, he heard some great whooshing sounds that were familiar but couldn't quite be placed. Rainbow colors could be seen through the trees. What was all this? And then he understood. Of course, hot air balloons. The balloons were ready for launch, their baskets peopled, their ropes even now being untied from the stakes. This was not so good news. Soon the sky would fill with all these balloons and he'd never find her. He was in a frenzy. He cleared his mind and calmly but quickly looked for her car. Ah, there it was, next to a balloon that was colored bright red and yellow.
Hurry up, Michael, she said as her balloon began to lift off, its rope still dragging on the ground past him. Come with me to the Emerald City.
Just then, the basket left the ground. Michael grabbed onto the rope and ran with it for a while, thinking crazily that he could somehow climb up it. There was only one problem. He was afraid of heights. Nevertheless, love conquered fear, and so he held on to the rope as it gently lifted him off of the ground. He soon had second thoughts, however, and panicked, realizing that he was almost getting too high to let go. He looked down and saw a barnyard filled with soft hay, and so, giving up the stunt as hopeless, let go of the rope and fell a short and harmless distance to the ground, but missed the hay, landing smack in the middle of the pig's feeding area. His once white suit was now as black as coal in the nothing of a void at night with no moon.
Now this is a car, he thought as he began to put it through its paces. Why, I feel like I am a part of it, he marveled, as it held the corners due to its low center of gravity and its wide, stable body. The greatest part of driving it was seeing the other cars on the road give way to him, all figuring him to be ultra-rich and of course not wanting to take a chance of bumping him and scratching a $200,000 car. So this is what it feels like to be a millionaire,
said another Ninja cell phone caller, S2, faster MK.
Stop bothering me, I don't want to buy a new condo.
However, Michael did heartily take note of the now 24 sedans following him, although they were a ways back, and put the pedal through the heavy metal of the radio. He drove on for another 10 minutes or so, tracking her every move, sometimes finding her in the sky miles away. Yes, he was a driven man. He entered a tunnel, then soon panicked, not having his lights on, and not instantly knowing where they were, but he smartly remembered where the headlight button was and flicked them on. When he finally emerged from the darkness, the scene he saw was like a beautiful dream. It was as if he was seeing the world for the first time, for the English countryside was beautiful, bright, and bold beyond compare. He felt as a part of its every color, texture, and hue. Then he smiled to himself and thought, "Well, Michael, welcome to the land of Oz." Trish was dropping altitude now and descending rapidly. He lost her for a while, having had to race through a dense grove of trees that bordered close to the road. But when he came around a curve with a brief open view, there she was, softly landing in the center of a large estate, where there was a sizable stone mansion built in the European tradition. She leaped out of the balloon and ran for the garden. Michael watched as Trish disappeared into the ornamental grounds that surrounded the mansion. Her hot air balloon was gently and gracefully collapsing, slowly covering the ground around him. For some reason, he thought of ToeQuest, and he had to fight hard to get it out of his mind.
This is going to be a good weekend of forgetting everything,
he thought, as the balloon's fabric fell onto him, waking him from his reverie of dilemma. Looking around, he took in the richness of the estate and couldn't help but translate it in his mind to a dollar figure. The grounds were perfectly terraced and landscaped. The mansion itself was made of pure marble, with stone and slate at the base. The world of nobility was just sitting there waiting for him to become a part of it. The whole place was more than magnificent, but something was not quite right. The grounds were empty. There were no security guards, no groundskeepers, and no servants. In fact, there were no signs of any life whatsoever. It seemed to be some sort of fortress of solitude, and this theory was confirmed when Michael heard a zap and a buzz. He quickly turned around to see the heat shimmering near an electric security fence that had just snapped on behind him. Briefly alarmed, he wondered whether he felt saved or trapped.
Just what side of the fence was the enemy on? Could it be that Trish was some sort of emotional nutcase?
He soon relaxed, though, as he felt a wave of reassurance coming over him, for the force field could only mean that they were meant to be romantically alone and safe from intrusion. It also neatly explained the absence of the security guards, for none were needed. Michael swung into action, for this was his middle name, a secret that even MI8 didn't know. As he ran toward the garden, he noted that what he thought to be grass had actually turned out to be a ground cover that he knew to be self-spreading, maintenance-free, and dense enough to keep out the weeds, thus explaining the absence of any groundskeepers. This was indeed a very modern estate.
Things were becoming clear to my finely tuned mind. Trish was some sort of a rich hermit or something.
The garden turned out to be a maze of high hedges, a popular European diversion. Michael was not very happy to see it, even though it was a work of art, because he had thought to have an easy conclusion to the day's quest. He attacked the maze rather recklessly, and just as quickly lost his way. He was soon totally disoriented, and began to feel more and more like a trapped animal. Michael peered through a small opening between the bushes and was just able to catch a glimpse of Trish heading down to a large lake behind the mansion. She walked out on a pier towards a powerboat, then looked back and saw that he was nowhere in sight, so she, apparently, sat down near the boat to wait for him.
She was an Indianapolis speed racer who was going to burn out her engine and probably not even finish the event. For a brief moment I wished for some station wagon-like stability. But boy, what an autobiography I could write. I could sense that Trish had even more adventures in mind, and this weighed on me slightly, making me bold enough to throw myself through the small gap in the hedges to surprise her, getting a number of minor scratches and scrapes in the process. Cool it, you're losing it. Let her have her fun for now.
Sure enough, as soon as she saw him coming, she jumped straight into the motorboat and started the engine, all the time urging him on with the chase.
Hurry up, Michael, come quick. Run, Michael, run. See Michael, run. Come to me, Michael, take the rope.
For a split second, Michael began to wonder why he was always chasing after ropes, and why he should jump into a lake just because she told him to do so. Nevertheless, he hurriedly removed his socks and shoes and quickly jumped into the lake. She slowed the boat, coming almost near him, and smiled for a moment at his spirited self, encouraging him. She threw him the ski rope. He grabbed for it, just managing to get the rope handle as she threw the throttle forward to full power. He plowed through the lake like an anchor. She dragged him along, half in and half out of the water. Somehow he got onto his feet and found himself water skiing barefoot, He was so amazed at the impossibility of this feat that he just as quickly collapsed into the water, rolling and tumbling forward, sort of like a stone that had been thrown, skipping and skimming. Leaving him there floundering, flailing and drowning, Trish headed straight back towards the shore, but at least she had the decency to throw him a life preserver. Michael began to wonder if Trish was worth it, but he soon painfully remembered that he thrived on life and love's adventure, although he wasn't so sure anymore.
He remembered her challenge. If you can keep up with me today, then you can have me tonight.
This seemed to give him some extra energy that soon built into the super strength that allowed him to swim to shore, whereupon he promptly fell down, exhausted, and passed out.
He awoke later, at first believing that he'd dreamt a nightmare, but harsh reality smacked him in the face when he saw Trish waiting for him in front of the flower garden.
He pretended to be still asleep, and so when she looked away for a second, he leapt up and ran, getting to within 10 feet of her before she spotted him and bolted towards the garden.
Wait till I get my hands on you, Trish.
I am a 10th degree Grandmaster Ninja, and you have done very well in your preliminary training. I know that you may be a trifle angry with me, but you are a very worthy man and a totally giving person. But you were in trouble, so I had to get you away from the MI8 agents. It was your attraction to me that sped you along and saved you, and your desires shall not go unfulfilled. But first, let us begin some training in the sense of smell.
Well, I'll be a flabbergasted energy pattern of in and out waves, but I thought something was more than a little bit smelling like a rat in the state of Denmark. Although your perfume is enchanting and enticing.
Sorry, how was the pig pen?
Smelly, even with my mere human 10,000 or so odor detectors.
Well, animals do have about 10 times that many, and I'll teach you how to stretch your nose and smell like a pig.
This is not a good time for jokes, my dearest, but it is true that I am very curious about everything. I mean about thing. For all is one that is made of one thing, energy.
Quite right. That is the secret. You just need some of our refresheners that will aid your phenomenal life. We have new car smell, the smell of danger, the smelling of the roses, and many more hitherto unknown delights of Numina.
You're in one of our major ninja centers. You see no one else here since they are mostly off on missions of the gravest danger to the world, of which I will soon inform you. The rest of them can only be seen if they wish to be.
The Ninja Empire is a response to their grave threat. We operate outside of all authority, as do they. We've left them there, for we know who they are, and we have members therein as well. It was their scent that gave them away as replacements. There is an evil conspiracy operating worldwide that is so secret that it doesn't even have a name. They have already substituted 3 near-identicals in the US Senate and 2 in the British Parliament. Those trained in the martial arts and mental discipline have reached great depths of self, spirit, beauty, courage, wisdom, and dependability. And that is a rare combination. S2, why ninjas?
And of course their stealth methods are quite necessary.
Indeed, and as for you, it's not often that we receive someone of your caliber, Michael. It's a great pleasure to have you join us with your depth of commitment to truth, beauty, purity, and love.
I'm just a regular guy trying to help.
No, on the contrary.
He noted some sayings on a wall of his scented room. Heaven's patron of arts, grace, and license left us sweet-smelling plants with flowered scents and aromas redolent fluorescence in flush and prime of days reminiscent. Spring kisses the earth, leaving flowers there, like those whose perfume first scented virgin air, as again the fragrant glen in heaven's prayer hails earth's anniversary with flowers fair. Pleasant-smelling scents lift your heart and mind. Essence of lotus, rose, amber, jasmine, night queen, myrtle, saffron, and sandalwood stimulate the inner spirit sublime. And on another wall, some darker thoughts. The tuberose is a dangerous pleasure, even when taken in but small measure. Its exquisite scent has such great power that it can wither you within the hour. If nightshade you drink, you'll become as so and can see the ghost shades and dark shadows of those who came before our humankind, those whose spirit worlds overlap the mind. And finally, an inner-worldly saying on another wall titled, "Flowers I glimpsed in dreams, choral bells, rung by bees and hummingbirds, a melody of tones without the words, and airy sprays of frothy baby's breath, gurgling with all that's much too sweet to purge, and sweet spikes of aromatic lavender, already potpourri from heaven's splendor, and all around the flora symbolica to soft drowse the spirit into slumber."
Thank you for the teachings. Stench and stink are reserved for smells that are foul, strong, and pervasive, although stink implies a sharper sensation, while stench refers to a more sickening one, the stink of sweaty gym clothes, the stench of a rotting carcass. Indeed, fragrances are among the infinite variations of energy in nature. Energy may be the one thing, but it has many pleasant faces. But then there were the pigs, which of course attracted to each other in their own way. Yes, fragrances can take you back in an instant to their source in a remembrance from the past. Fragrance and perfume are both associated with flowers, but fragrance is more delicate. A perfume may be so rich and strong that it is repulsive or overpowering. Of the lilac it is said, "Love's first emotion rose from the lilac, for it blooms when nature is first aroused. It is love's youngest dream to us come back, where it will ne'er again remain unspoused."
I now believe in Santa Claus. I chose a lilac fragrance from my quarters. It reminds me of my early youth in England with Molly Maguire under the fragrant bush. A scent is usually delicate and pleasing, as I try to be, with an emphasis on the source rather than on an olfactory impression such as the scent of balsam associated with Christmas. The 5 S's. What about the scent of a woman like you?
An aroma is a pleasing and distinctive odor that is usually penetrating or pervasive, like the aroma of fresh ground coffee, while bouquet refers to a delicate aroma, such as that of a fine wine. Here, have a glass. Don't forget to swirl, sniff, sip, swallow, or spit if you are just wine sampling.
Good explanation and joke. I've done aromatherapy.
An odor may be either pleasant or unpleasant, but it suggests a smell that is clearly recognizable and can usually be traced to a single source, like the pungent odor of onions, which, by the way, should be planted with potatoes since their eyes will water and nourish the crops.
Ha! What about odors, the British spelling that Austin likes over the American odors, which somehow has an unpleasant connotation to it? That.
You can say that again. Good. Everyone appreciates the fragrance of fresh-cut flowers, but the stench from the paper mill across town is usually unwelcome. Both have a distinctive smell, which is the most general of these words for what is perceived through the nose. But there is a big difference between a pleasant smell and a foul one. The inverse also applies. Yes, but I'm attracted to you too.
So you gave me roses to enjoy the pleasure of...
Smells alert the ninja in the dark even as much as sound, the subcategories being aroma, fragrance, scent, perfume, redolence, bouquet, stench, fetor, stink, reek, and whiff. This is only the beginning. Your journey of protecting the toe and learning more about it will be a strenuous one, and the more we can prepare you, the better. You already have great insight into the beauty and unity of all things, from the One. Your potential is as boundless as your imagination.
It is my dream to become one.
Come hither.
Hurry up, Michael, Trish said as her balloon began to lift off, its rope still dragging on the ground past him. Come with me to the Emerald City. Just then, the basket left the ground. Michael grabbed onto the rope and ran with it for a while, thinking crazily that he could somehow climb up it. There was only one problem. He was afraid of heights. Nevertheless, love conquered fear, and so he held onto the rope as it gently lifted him off of the ground. He soon had second thoughts, however, and panicked, realizing that he was almost getting too high to let go. He looked down and saw a barnyard filled with soft hay, and so, giving up the stunt as hopeless, let go of the rope and fell a short and harmless distance to the ground, but missed the hay landing smack in the middle of the pig's feeding area. His once white suit was now as black as coal in the nothing of a void at night with no moon.
Austin relaxed as Profat had advised, drinking the rest of the half-full glass of wedding wine that he'd snatched off the reception's porch as he took off in his Corvette, for this part came up missing in the previous story. How do things or people come up missing is beyond me, for if they are missing, they should not come up. The glasses are seen as half full is a healthy optimism, although many engineers still wonder why the glass is always twice as large as it needs to be. Same with the near miss of airplanes. Might as well be a near hit. Several other TOW questers had been previously taken to safety in the ninja bases for the protection of the towee, but their tales remain untold for now. All the TOW questers stayed on for another week or so of education in the bases, for they were avid learners, interested in everything, and Mita. And even beyond that, plus, this kept them out of the limelight, an old method of theater lighting that gave off a lot of heat, too. Half of all government agents had been pulled off of the theory of everything case and put back on the search for bin Laden, the remaining half now having to keep more eyes and ears open, for iPods had been banned. But then the iPhone came out with all the same stuff, plus it was a phone they all had to have. However, the conspiracy was getting interested in the TOW, but this would only cause them to surface more and perhaps make some mistakes.
The conspiracy, who we shall talk about just a little bit here, uses heretofore unknown high-tech methods to eavesdrop and to protect itself as well. Nefarious undergoings upon human mental states were reaching levels only hinted at by Hitler's experiments, and making him look like a pussycat with a mustache. Almost every ninja was on their case, and there was many a success on lone conspirators, but the overall progress of finding their centers was slow. The conspirators were all hooked on smoking big cigars for some reason, and so a car with them in it was spotted by a ninja lookout. A quick phone call led another ninja, clad in a light bending suit, following them on a stealth 30-speed bicycle. "All clear?" asked a conspirator, looking back. "I see nothing. Electronic analysis indicates that no car's tailing us. I heard from one of our government insiders that the secret of the theory of everything, the TOW, has been discovered. Maybe we can use it. Take us to our commander's house." "We can never be seen going there without an appointment." "We aren't being seen. Plus, there is nothing confidential in there." "There is the value of command. Go." They entered a high-speed highway, and so other ninjas on invisible bikes were alerted to pick up the chase somewhere along the way. At the commander's house, the swift blaze of ninjas from nowhere encircled the conspirators in a blinding flash of confusion, rendering them all defenseless. However, almost as soon, the conspirators merely thought a deadly thought that triggered their quick demise, taking all their secrets with them. "Report valiant failure," requested the head ninja. "These guy not possible take alive." The reply came back. "No failure, glorious success. Every number add up. 5 less of worry and local commander gone. Search house, but probably this another autonomous cell. Plus, be no use take alive. What here? Want TOW. Not what like here, but TOW safe." Rascal was allowed to overhear such happenings and asked, "Autonomous? You do no long words? No link to their center?" "Not usual," said the ninja. "Only indirect, but not even weakly. No one know they dead for some time. Give us some degree of freedom for while. Sure, I know long word. Need some time, but some too long of say. The ninjas often have such lonely, frustrating duty. Happy man not lonely with good at side. Have ninja friends too. Many lady ninjas also. How do you pay them all? Work free. Only need food and bed. Come to internet emotion class I teach now. I tell people after class why conspirator useless taken alive. Ask for idea. I'll be there.
The ninja instructor from Rascal's Base was teaching through the internet via iChat to all novices and near experts alike, revealing the mysteries, joys, and pitfalls of good and bad emotions. It was a course that had to be given many times. The ninja said, "Good emotion bring out fine flavor of great glory. Bad idea with bad emotion, color stains black odor of big fat stink. Good morning, class. I be instructor of molecular events." "Isn't this a course on emotion?" asked someone. "Yes, but brain emotion be mere chemical happening, you see. Often missing high school instruction lacks in big area of this topic, but waste time do foreign language, history misery, and some people named art, gym, and special ed. Just joke. Many bored of ed. Emotion be like sense of inner feel of what to do or color flavor of moment. Emotion even make more life decision than thought do many time." "What causes emotions?" asked everybody. "Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine carry chemical message across non-electrical part of neuron call synapse. Too little or too much be bad news. Must eat right, exercise, good sleep, lower stress, work less, or take pill to have many transmitter transmit good vibe. Dopamine used for excitement of see new stuff. Serotonin like traffic director of signals. If low, then crash, burn, yell, revert to primitive impulse. Color thoughts dark, get depressed, obsess, worry by fall for such random spurious atomic transmitter event like dumb fish take hook with no nothing else. But this fish person think they 1000% right and cannot be talked to. Now, who wise enough to ignore own thought? We teach. Not easy, but must do. Need training. Hear saying such. We fall for our feelings, hook, line, and sinker. Conditioned responses, reflexes, or overwhelming emotions, spurious or anciently planted by evolution.
So, commented anyone, bad emotions are just molecular events chemically gone astray, or relics that have been stuck with us since ancient times. How unmeaningful is that? No wonder some people are full of angry nonsense. Yes, be random event or old-time thing. That all to tell of entire world history of misery from foolish folly of human. Class over. Over? Asked Noon. Yes, but no, I joke. History book sad, waste to study. Much you to learn here now. Reduce evolutionary relic by meditate. This be not what you think. We thousands years behind in emotion reaction. Old impulses from fight tiger or run not apply now. Only build up fuss. Here, life still emotionally primitive. Negative feedback mechanisms in the central nervous system, now useless, send out thousands of years old messages. Like brainless aggression from anger and jealousy or envy that blots out all rhyme and reason? Asked one. As such, anger have no brain, make bad poet. We talk good emotion later, but bad be big problem, as C saying. The highest zone is absolute happiness, though even the best can slip to well-being, and sometimes down into the bearable zone. Next come the anger, apathy, and death zones. Once you drop into the anger zone, the analytical mind cuts out, giving way to the primitive reactive mind, a moronic state in which even beige seems black. The simple reactive mind thinks that, say, a perceived bad tone equals insult equals hate equals great anger equals lash out equals big fight equals kill equals death. This is horrible and barbaric, these aversive substrates of emotion, said Allisone. The future human races will wonder how we could have survived them. Yes, student, many mad. It make me feel like kill them, but they know can help this way be. So must try help them. But if not work, rise above, sail over, jail, bypass, ignore, run away, say go buy loaf of bread, never come back. As for self, must learn anger sign. Sometimes mad, kick dog or cat since make noise, but day before same noise okay, so not cat or dog fault, but irritable simpleton emotion. State assign cat or dog as cause of feeling since. Hostility stems from low serotonin as one falls for moods mindless and brainless. Kicking the cat or kids when one gets home, rationalizing that they made some noise. I'm getting mad just thinking about it, said Not One.
Have you ever considered the profound impact of what you consume, not just physically but mentally, on your attitude and behavior? Once upon a time, a wise ninja instructor shared his wisdom. Consider this: the things you see or think about, whether they are negative or positive, can shape your attitude. This is particularly true for impressionable young individuals who are influenced by negative television shows. Be cautious of what you learn, as mirror neurons in the brain mimic what they see. Simply by observing something, whether good or bad, you learn how to do it, much like a monkey seeing another monkey digging for potatoes. Although this is a positive example, the principle applies to all learning. It's like the saying, you never forget how to ride a bike. Learning endures. Negative emotions can leave a stain on the brain. They are deaf to logic, change as slowly as molasses, and can block your senses like a rock. In response, a listener said, "I understand your point, and I might even become what I see." The ninja instructor replied, "Indeed, but there's an excess of negative emotion around us. I don't want you to be upset by hearing all the bad news, so let's switch to positive emotions. Remember the thrill of walking on a log or swinging a rope over a creek? The elation of your first kiss that had you floating for a week? The joy of building a house from popsicle sticks? Running, jumping, playing, having friends? These are all good things. There is life after birth. But life stress weighs us down as if we lived on Jupiter," commented another listener, Harried One. The ninja instructor nodded. Stress is the difference between what you expect to happen and what actually happens. When you put your needs ahead of others, it often results in needless anger at what life really is, even though it may seem surprising. "But there's always something going wrong," replied another listener, Blame One. The instructor offered a solution. "So, happiness is a delicate bubble today that lifts you to the gates of heaven, but a single raven's caw in the night steals your smile and shatters it?" "Yes, kind of like that." "Then try this stress relief exercise. Breathe in all that's good, breathe out all that's bad. Let peace flow into you, warm, wet, and glad. Feel it spread throughout your body, then say, 'This is the best life that I've ever had.'" "But I need things stuff," a listener objected. The instructor concluded, "Putting the needs of others ahead of your own produces a byproduct of happiness and reduces stress, for you no longer have unrealistic expectations." In conclusion, the key points from this narrative are: what you consume mentally can shape your attitude and behavior. Negative emotions can leave lasting impressions on the brain. The difference between expectations and reality can cause stress. And putting the needs of others before your own can lead to happiness and reduced stress. Remember to breathe in all that's good and breathe out all that's bad, and always remind yourself, "This is the best life that I've ever had."
What if the key to happiness and self-improvement doesn't lie in the pursuit of material possessions, but rather in the service of others and the cultivation of a higher consciousness? In a conversation between a listener and a ninja instructor, the listener expressed a common sentiment: "I want to get places, get ahead, be happy." In response, the ninja instructor offered a profound insight. Putting the needs of others ahead of your own can produce happiness and reduce stress, as it eliminates unrealistic expectations. The listener argued, "But I need things, stuff." To this, the instructor introduced the concept of the 3 lower consciousnesses: the obsession with securing objects, chasing sensations, and power control. He explained that these pursuits will never be enough and can lead to negative emotions such as irritability, anger, fear, jealousy, and anxiety. The instructor encouraged the listener to practice unconditional love and acceptance. By putting ourselves in the place of others, especially when hurtful things are done to us, we can expand our consciousness, compassion, and love. In discussing daily annoyances like bad drivers, the instructor emphasized the importance of viewing the bigger picture. Perhaps the driver is old, learning, lost, or upset. This perspective can help alleviate anger and frustration. The listener admitted, "I never thought of that. I just yelled at them." The instructor stressed the importance of thinking with good emotions and questioning the validity of negative reactions. He asked, "You say you want to kill the driver who cut you off in traffic? Is this still your true wish?" The listener admitted, "No, not anymore." This dialogue teaches us several important lessons. Firstly, happiness and self-improvement are not about material possessions, but about serving others and cultivating higher consciousness. Secondly, negative emotions often stem from the three lower consciousnesses, which can be mitigated through unconditional love and acceptance. Finally, adopting a broader perspective can help alleviate daily annoyances and reduce stress. Remember to question your initial emotional responses and consider the bigger picture. This shift in perspective could be the key to unlocking a happier, less stressful life. It's all about expanding your consciousness, showing compassion, and embracing love.
Yes, said the ninja instructor, but all feeling sad, happy in between crisscross human life cloth. Reflection of life sensation is rainbow coloring scene or ugly stainbow of oil on road. Learn, watch self from afar, be spectator of self, this higher self. Watch parade go by, not engage, view from curb, sit down, drink wine of happy life. I'll try, instructor. Maybe half a glass for some is really filled to the brim of optimism. My glass has always been empty, even when it was only half empty. Yes, but think thorn have roses, not roses have thorn. I tell you story of rose blossom as realization for me one time when beauty itself bloomed from well of truth. Here go. I know life have potential anguish, but we must live fully and so be alive enough to feel beauty, but then exposed to opposite twin. Yes, know that beauty other side be melancholy, but for me long ago sadness come brood over every morrow, so I not know what do and go visit deep well of sorrow. But surprise, I see beauty enshrined there, inseparate from sadness. She say, "It's from me that sadness you borrow." Okay, teacher, it seems that there can be no light without the darkness. Wow, I'm gaining wisdom fast. What about using drugs for happiness? Wisdom fade fast. Take time, sink in. Problems not complex, think. Simply misery, death follow, drink. Evil, cruelty, same reflected. Drug lead life out of sync. One become living dead. Heroin, crack and such lodge in pleasure receptor made for brain natural opiate endorphin of happiness, but drug not fit right, so clog, destroy receptor, then need more drug for same high, then all receptor useless, then dead life forever. Okay, forget it. What is the object and purpose of life? Life object be mental happiness, thought all we have, true paradise be state of mind. Help have something like to do and one to do with.
Sounds good. What does the neurotransmitter dopamine do? Asked someone of the ninja instructor. Dopamine light up interest on new things, so focus attention on novel situation, even boring one. But not boring first time, like something so simple as change some building parking lot. We chalk up interest to thing being new, not realizing forced. This much normal except when need too much newness, thrill every day, or take too much risk to feel good, like race car driver, wild acting persons, and like, I get it. Let's talk about some really good emotions like love. Okay, I was to do. Love greatest emotion right after adventure. Love ultimate reason of live. To forget, necessary to forgive. Give equal happiness, take equal nothing. Big paradox, give so receive. Habit take bow to great originality. Good emotion energy become motive and sweep one with energy in motion. Joy be energy from good emotion. Gushing stream swirling in unstoppable motion. Force over edge as waterfall of boundless power, as a tidal wave from endless ocean of perpetual emotion that then create more energy from itself being. Love, the exact opposite of taking, is giving. But remember, emotion not whole story. Need balance for wholeness. Some classicists drone toward mechanical perfection. Romanticists drown in emotional affection. And worse, other alternate between extreme. Way, not this or that, but join in direction. Need listen now about some long love story that maybe Michael feel 10 times more. This be slant to romantic love, but apply to all form, like love of life and goodness. Love is the finest refreshment of mortal life, providing as it does a glimpse into the heavenly state, a vision which, if maintained, can last well beyond the initial perception and for all of one's life. So I say that any time not spent on love is time squandered in absolute waste, that if you're idling, not loving, or God forbid, hating, then life is a wasting. For love is the greatest experience on earth. And so I have often sought it out, found it, received it, given it, and lived it as life's one great happiness. For there is no other joy that compares, love being the truth of all truths.
Who has not forgotten that first kiss and the magic that attended it? No one. For first love touches one deeply and forever. People newly in love glow for weeks on end. There is nothing like love, although, strangely, some do not actively seek it out, perhaps for fear of rejection. But even love's worst pain is sweeter by far than any other pleasure. There is indeed no contest. So, to love and lose is second only to loving in triumph. Not merely just a pleasure. Love refreshes, creates, invigorates, and provides sustenance of spirit and life itself. Without love there is no life, at least none worth living. When you give up on love, you begin to die. Love knows no laws or restrictions, for mutual passion is a law unto itself. Love is the cure-all, both for those who receive it and for those who give it. The one tragedy in life is not death, but that some people do not love, aye, nor do they live. For the fear of the one is fear of the other. So by all means, if you love somebody, go to them and tell them so right now. It is said that the loving are the daring, perhaps because they seek the ultimate adventure, often risking all for that which lies far and above the commonplace, that vision into paradise. Imagination weaves a fairy tale of love and romance, and the mind that is alive soon brings forth the phantasm into reality. Placing our very life and happiness in another through love is the greatest gift one can give, for it is the gift of oneself. Unconditional love is a true gift, one without strings attached, one without any motive for gain in return. Oh, of course, we are human and often love for the sake of being loved in return. And this is not in itself wrong, but when one loves for no other reason than for the sake of generosity and loving, then this is a saintly type of love which is above all the other kinds.
True love loves people for what they are, not for their qualities in particular, but for the person. It's not that we love someone because we need them, for this is quite immature, but that we need someone because we love them. It is, you see, love that is the origin. Love begets love, and love in turn begets more love, and so on, making us even more loving to others until heaven is indeed brought down to earth. Real love is its own reward. Identity is not lost in love, for true lovers do not sit looking only into each other's heart, but rather look outward, each in the same direction. It is a seeming violation of arithmetic that in love two become much greater than 1 + 1, and that the two, nevertheless, do not become one but remain as two. yet still share the same vibration in their souls. It also seems to be a paradox that love, when divided, is not at all diminished, but that each individual love multiplies to exceed the lot. One can never run out of love. It is a miser indeed who withholds love from a capacity that is boundless. Hoard not that which can be given. Give love, and even more love comes back full circle to you. What a joy is it to experience life's wonders with someone you love. Oh, walks and plays and dinners are great enough pleasures when taken alone, but note how much better they are when you have someone to share them with. Another bonus of love is that with it behind your actions, you may soon find yourself doing the impossible, as love's inspiration carries you along through any kind of difficulty. For me, it was an inspiration to write. Love and a kind heart are much alike, and one is equivalent to the other, love being a triumvirate of truth, beauty, and goodness blended into one great purity. We do not merely love, we are love. We do not create, we are creation itself. We don't just live life, we are life.
In the hushed whispers of the night, a conversation about love and danger unfolds. The ninja instructor, with wisdom in his voice, enlightens his student. There are many forms of love, he begins, brotherly, sisterly, motherly, fatherly, romantic, spiritual, professional, and physical. All of these, my student, are bound by the thread of goodness that ties all ninjas together. Yet love is not just about the heart, it's about chemistry, about bonding hormones that make us feel profoundly. A pause hangs in the air before the student responds. So is romantic love just about chemical reactions? The instructor nods. Yes, but let's not forget the joy that comes from not knowing this fact, from immersing ourselves in the mystery of love. But let's switch gears, my student. There's a more pressing issue at hand. With an air of gravity, the instructor shifts the conversation to the enemy conspiracy. There is an unspeakable evil that lurks beyond the government, a large organization that is beyond redemption and poses a significant threat. We face them, we study them, but it's not easy. The student, rascal as he is, jumps in with a suggestion. What if we follow them to their centers? The instructor shakes his head. They have great surveillance detectors. A direct approach isn't feasible. Can we infiltrate them then? The student persists. No, they scan for goodness. They would take you down in an instant. What about capturing one of them? And we can put them to sleep, read their minds, or convince them to spill their secrets. The instructor sighs. We've tried. They have protections in their minds. They'd rather die than reveal their secrets. The conversation ends on a chilling note, highlighting the gravity of the situation. The main points to take away from this dialogue are the different forms of love, the role of chemical bonding in romantic love, the existence of an external enemy organization, their advanced surveillance and brain scanning capabilities, and their unwavering commitment to their cause. The student's quest for knowledge and the instructor's wisdom paint a vivid picture of their world, a world filled with love, danger, and constant vigilance.
Rascal says to the ninja instructor, Rascal spoke, "This conspiracy group is truly terrible. What if we follow some of them to their centers? They too smart, have great surveillance detectors, can only follow short distance with bike. Can we infiltrate them? They scan brain for goodness, kill you fast. Capture one of them by putting them to sleep and read their mind somehow, or not so gently convince them to give up their secrets? We try. They have protection in mind. Die if remove. Die if wish anytime. Listen to their conspiracy plans near one of their centers. Their center block emanation from all around and above. What about below? They detect dig tunnel vibration, but this give me idea. What is it? Need refine, study, keep secret from torture of any you now. But this thought poem I leave you of my feel long ago, so you think about emotion and maybe tough time ahead if my idea go over. One time darkness drained me to be wan moon. Sickness consumed spirit, mantle heavy lead, life last glow upon me, eyes crater gone dim. Death's ebon form seek me, cover me with cloak, come with me, he say, as cool burning brow of dark moon me, I offer you quiet peace. Sudden strength come to me, waning crescent wisp. In night cold shadow I say, unhold my soul moon reaper, I fully shine once more.